Alina sat quietly at gate 14 in the busy airport. People rushed around her dragging suitcases, talking on phones, laughing with families. But Alina noticed none of them. She sat with her back straight, hands shaking slightly, and eyes red from crying. Her black coat was wrapped tightly around her, even though it wasn't cold. She looked like someone waiting for something, or maybe someone who had given up waiting. In her hand, she held a small old photo. It showed a teenage boy, around 13 years old, smiling under a tree. He had brown eyes, curly hair, and dimples that made his smile unforgettable. His name was Liam, and he had been missing for 10 years. Alina came to this airport every year, on the same day, Liam's birthday. She didn't know why. She just felt like she had too. Maybe it was a mother's instinct. Maybe it was hope. Maybe it was all she had left. Today was no different. She had taken a flight from her city to this airport. The last place Liam was seen before he vanished at the age of 13. The police never found anything. No body, no clues. Just his school bag left behind in a locker, and silence. Some said he ran away. Some said he was taken. Others just forgot. But Alina never stopped looking. She had spent years calling people, searching websites, checking shelters. She followed every message, every rumor, but they always ended in disappointment. Now, she was tired, and for the first time in years, she felt like giving up. A voice came over the airport speaker. Flight 602 to Chicago, now boarding at gate 18. Alina didn't move. She just stared at the photo in her hand. Her thumb rubbed the corner of the picture slowly, the paper soft from years of holding. She whispered, "Where are you, Liam?" Just then, she heard a small voice beside her. "Why are you crying?" Alina looked to her left. A little boy, maybe 7 years old, was standing there. He had messy hair, red sneakers, and bright eyes full of curiosity. He wore a yellow hoodie and was holding a small paper in his hand. "I'm not crying," Alina said softly, wiping her face quickly. The boy tilted his head. "Yes, you are." Alina forced a small smile. "Sometimes adults cry too." The boy nodded, as if he understood. Then he sat down next to her without asking. Alina looked around, expecting to see his parents, but no one seemed to be searching for him. Before she could say anything, the boy held out the small folded paper. "This is for you," he said. She hesitated. "For me?" He nodded, then stood up and walked away just like that. She blinked, confused. Wait. But by the time she stood, the boy had already disappeared into the crowd. Alina looked down at the paper in her hand. It was small, like a torn piece from a notebook. She slowly unfolded it. Inside were 5 simple words, written in messy pencil. "He's closer than you think." Her breath caught. She looked around, heart pounding. "What is this?" she whispered. She sat down, again, gripping the note tightly. The words repeated in her mind like an echo. "He's closer than you think." Who wrote it? Who was that boy? How did he know about Liam? She opened her purse and took out the photo again. She stared at Liam's eyes, then looked at the note. Something about the handwriting felt familiar. Alina stood up and walked quickly to the nearest information desk. "Excuse me," she asked the woman behind the counter. "There was a little boy here just now, maybe 7 years old. Red shoes, yellow hoodie. Did you see him?" The woman shook her head. "Sorry, ma'am. Kids run around all the time. Was he with someone?" I don't think so," Alina replied. The woman smiled kindly. "Security might be able to help. Want me to call them?" Alina hesitated. Should she ask for help? Would they even believe her? She shook her head. "No, thank you." And she walked away. Back at gate 14, Alina sat down again. She opened the note one more time. Those words. "He's closer than you think." Her heart beat faster. Was this just a strange child playing a game? Or was it a sign? Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time, they weren't just sad. They were full of something else. Hope. For the first time in years, Alina didn't feel empty. She felt watched, guided, seen, and somewhere deep inside her, she felt like Liam might be near. Alina sat frozen on the hard airport seat, the strange little note still in her hand. Her fingers clutched it tightly, as if afraid it would vanish. "He's closer than you think." Those 5 words echoed. In her mind, they were simple, but they carried a weight she couldn't explain. She looked around the airport again, searching for the little boy in the yellow hoodie and red shoes. He was nowhere to be seen. The crowds moved like waves, people rolling suitcases, hugging loved ones, rushing to catch flights, but none of them looked like him. He had appeared out of nowhere and left just as quickly, leaving behind a note that now pulled at every corner of her heart. Who was he? How did he know anything about her? She tried to calm herself, but the questions kept spinning in her head. Alina stood and walked quickly toward the nearest hallway, peering down every path. She checked the snack shops, the restrooms, the waiting areas. Still no sign of the boy. It was like he had vanished into thin air. She returned to gate 14, confused and unsettled. The note was still in her hand. It had no name, no address, no explanation, just those 5 words. As she sat back down, a woman sitting nearby gave her a kind smile. "Are you all right, dear?" Alina nodded quickly. "Yes, thank you." But the truth was, she wasn't all right. Not at all. Something about that boy shook her. He had looked right into her eyes, like he knew her pain. like he had been sent for a reason. She opened her purse again and looked at Liam's photo. Her son's young face stared back at her. He had been 13 when he disappeared. That was 10 years ago. He would be 23 now. But she had never seen him grow, only imagined it in her dreams. Her fingers trembled as she looked at the note and the photo side by side. A strange thought passed through her mind. What if this wasn't random? What if someone was trying to lead her somewhere? She shook her head. Maybe she was just tired. Her flight wasn't for another 3 hours, but she had already lost interest in traveling. She had only booked the ticket to come here, sit in this airport, and hope that anything would give her a sign. And now, a boy with no name had given her one. He's closer than you think. She whispered the words to herself. Could it be? Suddenly, she felt the urge to stand. She didn't know why, but her feet moved. She began walking through the terminal slowly, eyes scanning every gate. Gate 15, Gate 16, Gate 17. Nothing unusual. Then she saw it. At Gate 18, something stopped her heart for a moment. A small, soft blue teddy bear sat alone on a chair. It looked worn, familiar, very familiar. Her steps quickened. She walked over and picked it up. Her fingers brushed over the ear. There was a small stitched tag. It read, "Property of Liam E. Elena." Gasped. This wasn't possible. She had bought this bear for Liam when he was 5. He used to sleep with it every night. After he disappeared, it was gone too. She had thought it was lost forever. Now here it was, sitting on a chair at Gate 18. She looked around quickly. No child, no parents, no one who looked like they had left it. Her knees felt weak. Was someone following her, watching her? Why would Liam's bear be here today, of all days? Her eyes filled with tears again. This was no coincidence. Someone knew. She pressed the bear to her chest and whispered, "Liam, is this you?" Of course, there was no answer. But something inside her stirred. She felt warm, alive, awake, like her heart had been pulled from deep water and was now breathing again. She sat down, the bear in her lap, the note in her hand. Her mind raced. Maybe the boy was real. Maybe he was sent. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something she had prayed for all these years. Then, her phone buzzed. She wiped her eyes and picked it up. A message from a blocked number. 5 words, same as the note. "He's closer than you think." Her heart skipped a beat. Her hands shook. She stared at the screen in disbelief. The exact same message. Who was doing this? Was it a prank, a trap, or something else entirely? She quickly typed back, "Who are you? Do you know Liam?" No reply, just silence. She waited 5 minutes, 10 minutes, still nothing. Then, another message came. "Look near Gate 19. That was just a short walk from where she sat. She stood again, clutching the teddy bear in her arms, and walked quickly toward the next gate. Her legs felt weak. Her heart pounded in her chest. Gate 19 looked normal at first. A few people waiting, a flight delayed, nothing strange. Until she saw it. A paper, folded and taped to the side of a vending machine. It had her name on it, Elena. Her breath caught. She pulled the paper free and unfolded it. It was a handwritten message. "Don't stop now. You're getting closer. He never forgot you." No name, no number, just those words. Her eyes filled again. This wasn't her imagination. Someone was leading her, piece by piece, and she had no choice now but to follow. For the first time in a long, long while, she believed. She didn't know who the boy was, or who sent the messages, but something deep inside her whispered, Liam was near, and she wasn't leaving this airport until she found the truth. Elena stood frozen near the vending machine, the new note trembling in her hand. Her name written in clean, careful letters, and below it, those haunting words, "Don't stop now. You're getting closer. He never forgot you." Her mind swirled, with 100 thoughts. Who was leaving these messages? And how did they know her? More importantly, how did they know about Liam? She looked around carefully, scanning every face that passed by, every person standing near. Nothing. No sign of the little boy in red shoes. No sign of anyone watching her. But she felt it deep inside. Someone was guiding her. Someone wanted her to keep going. She folded the note and slipped it into her purse, right next to the first one. The teddy bear remained in her arms like a shield from the noise and confusion around her. She had no plan, no map, only instinct now. An instinct told her to keep moving. As she walked toward Gate 20, she passed an airport gift shop. Something in the window made her stop. Inside the glass was a tiny silver locket. It was heart-shaped. Nothing special at first glance. But as she stared at it, something clicked in her memory. Liam had once asked her for a heart locket, "So I can put a picture of you and me inside," he had said when he was 7. She had promised him one for his birthday, but after he disappeared, she never saw that locket again. With her heart racing, Elena stepped inside. She walked straight to the glass and pointed. "That locket, has it been here long?" The woman, behind the counter, looked up. "That one? No, ma'am. Someone brought it in earlier. Said it was found near the benches by Gate 14. We don't usually sell lost items, but this one seemed too personal to throw away." Elena's voice cracked. "Can I see it?" The woman opened the case and handed her the locket. It felt cold and heavy. Elena opened it slowly. Inside were 2 tiny pictures, one of herself, holding a baby, and one of Liam, around age 9. Her knees almost gave out. These were her private photo swans she had thought were gone forever. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Where did this come from?" "I don't know," the woman replied kindly, "but it seemed important." Alina nodded, speechless. She held the locket to her chest, tears returning again. First the note, then the teddy bear, now this. Someone was taking her back through pieces of the past, pieces of Liam's life. It wasn't random. She stepped out of the shop, heart pounding, and took a deep breath. Gate 21 was just ahead. As she approached, she saw a group of travelers lining up. Nothing unusual, but then she heard her name, soft, almost a whisper. "Alina." She turned quickly. No one was near her. "Alina?" She spun around again, this time more sharply. Her eyes landed on a young man sitting alone with a hoodie pulled low over his head. He had a backpack, a soft jawline, and hands that looked nervous. He looked up, their eyes met. Elena's heart stopped for a second. She couldn't breathe. Those eyes, deep brown, full of something familiar, stared back at her. He looked away quickly, stood up, and walked toward the restroom without thinking. Alina followed. Her legs moved faster than her thoughts. She followed the stranger through the hallway, but by the time she reached the restroom, he was gone. She stood there, breathless, confused, angry. Had it been Liam? Had he seen her? Why did he run? Her phone buzzed again. A new message. Not yet. One more gate. She looked down the hall. Gate 22 was just around the corner. The number felt heavy. Liam had turned 13 on the 22nd of March. Her hands were shaking now. Every part of her felt like it was walking a tightrope, but she walked, one step, then another. As she approached Gate 22, something unexpected happened. The airport, lights above, flickered softly. The loudspeaker crackled and went quiet. Then came a soft old song playing through the speakers, one she hadn't heard in years. It was Liam's favorite lullaby, the one she used to hum to him every night before bed. Her eyes filled instantly. She kept walking until she saw a chair beside the window with a brown envelope sitting neatly on the seat. Her name was written on the front. Hands trembling, she picked it up and sat down. She opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, handwritten. The handwriting was older now, but she knew it. Every curve of the letters, every space between the words. It was Liam's. "Dear Mom, if you're reading this, it means I was right. You never stopped looking. I've missed you every day. I've watched from far away, afraid, unsure, but I always believed this moment would come. I left the notes, I sent the bear, I asked a little friend to deliver the first message. I wanted to tell you, I'm here. I'm not the same boy, but I'm still your son. I'll be at Gate 23. If you're ready, come find me." Alina couldn't breathe. The letter fell into her lap. Her eyes blurred with tears. Her mouth opened, but no words came. He was here, all this time, watching, waiting, helping her take the steps. Her boy, her Liam, was not a memory. He was real, alive, and one gate away. She stood up slowly, her legs like jelly, her heart pounding. She pressed the locket against her chest, clutched the bear tighter, and whispered, "I'm ready." Then she turned, walked toward Gate 23, and prayed her son would be waiting. Alina moved through the terminal like someone walking through a dream. Every step toward Gate 23 felt both heavy and full of hope. Her mind couldn't keep up with her heart. Her hands clutched the teddy bear and the letter. She whispered Liam's name under her breath again and again, as if calling it out might make him appear faster. The airport noise faded behind her. People were still talking, planes still boarding, but her world had narrowed to one thing. One person on gate. She didn't know what to expect. Would he be standing there, waiting? Would he still recognize her? Would he run again? Or had this all been too good to be true? She turned the corner and saw Gate 23 just ahead. Only a few people sat there. A flight had just been called, and the space was quieter now. Her eyes scanned the chairs one by one. Then she saw him. The same young man from earlier, hoodie pulled up, head down, backpack at his feet. He looked nervous, like he didn't belong, like he wasn't sure if he should be there. Elena's heart squeezed. She took a deep breath and walked slowly toward him. He didn't look up. She sat one chair away. For a moment, they said nothing, just silence. The air between them was full of weight. Then she spoke, her voice soft but trembling. He froze. Slowly, his head turned. He looked at her. Their eyes met again. This time, he didn't look away. His lips parted, but no sound came. His eyes filled with tears. He whispered, "Mom?" Alina covered her mouth. Her whole body shook. Yes, sweetheart, it's me." Liam dropped his head into his hands. His shoulders trembled. Alina moved to the seat beside him and reached out. Her fingers touched his shoulder, gently at first, then fully. He didn't pull away. She pulled him into a hug. The teddy bear pressed between them. He cried into her shoulder like a little boy again. And she cried too, holding him tightly, afraid to let go. "You're real," she whispered. "You're here." "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I didn't know how to come back. I didn't know if you'd want me. I never stopped wanting you," she said. "Never. Not for 1 second." He held her tighter. Time stood still. When the tears slowed, they sat back and looked at each other. He had changed. His face was older, stronger, but the eyes were still the same. The dimples still appeared when he tried to smile. "How did you find me?" he asked. She laughed gently. I didn't. You found me. He nodded, wiping his face. I left the notes. I sent the bear. I watched you for 2 years before I had the courage to say anything. Why didn't you come sooner? Because I was scared. I thought maybe I didn't belong anymore. I didn't know if I deserved to be part of your life again. Alina took his hand. You are my life. He looked down, silent for a moment. Then he pulled something from his backpack. It was a small notebook, worn, full of pages. I started writing letters to you after I left, hundreds of them. I never sent them, but they're all here. He handed her the book. She opened it carefully. The first page read, Dear Mom, I miss you. She closed it and held it against her chest. I'll read every single word, she said, and I'll keep them forever. Liam nodded. I never forgot your face. Your voice? Your lullabies. Alina smiled through her tears. I heard that song in the airport. Did you play it? He nodded. I knew you would recognize it. I wanted you to feel like I was near. I did, she said. I didn't understand it then, but now, it makes sense. They sat together in silence again, but this time it was peaceful, safe, whole. Where did you go, Liam? She asked gently. He looked away for a moment. A man found me at the train station. I was scared, hungry. He said he could help. He took me in, but he used a different name. Changed everything. I went to school. I grew up, but I always felt something missing. Elena's heart ached. Did he hurt you? No, Liam said quickly. He was kind, but he didn't want me to find my past. I think he was afraid someone would take me away. When I got older, I started searching. That's how I found your name again. You remembered everything, he said, especially your voice when you said goodnight. I searched every year. I knew you came here on my birthday. I waited too, hoping we'd cross paths. Alina couldn't believe it. All those years of pain. And now, her son was beside her. Alive, safe home. She placed her hand on his cheek. I'm so proud of you, she said. So proud. He leaned into her touch. Thank you for not giving up. They sat together for what felt like hours, lost in the moment, holding on to the time they had just regained. Alina didn't want to blink, afraid that Liam might disappear again like he had 10 years ago, but this time was different. He was here, real, alive, and he had chosen to come back. Liam leaned his head back against the seat and let out a slow breath. You probably have a million questions, he said quietly. Alina nodded. I do. But right now, I'm just thankful to have you sitting next to me, he smiled, small and shy. I wasn't sure you'd want me to. She reached over and took his hand. You were always wanted, always missed, every single day. Liam looked down at their hands. I used to imagine this moment all the time. I just never thought it would actually happen. Me too, Alina whispered. I always felt like I'd see you again. I didn't know how or when. I just believed. He was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled something else from his backpack. It was a folded envelope with her name on it. What's this? She asked. It's the first letter I ever wrote you, he said. The one I never had the courage to send. She opened it slowly. The paper was old, the edges soft. His handwriting was younger, less steady. She began to read. Dear Mom, I don't know if I'll ever see you again. I hope you're okay. I hope you still think about me. I think about you every night. I miss your voice and the way you hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. I miss the way you smiled when I did something silly. I'm sorry I left. I didn't mean to. I didn't want to. I was just scared. I love you. Please don't forget me. Elena's vision blurred. She closed the letter and pressed it against her chest. I never forgot, she whispered. Never once. Liam wiped his eyes. I used to read that letter every year on my birthday. You remembered your birthday? She asked. He nodded. I always counted the days. March 22nd. I used to wonder if you were counting too. Every single year, she said. I came here, to this airport. I sat at gate 14 and waited. I didn't know why. It just felt right. Liam looked surprised. That's where I saw you first. A year ago. You were crying. I wanted to run to you, but I froze. I wasn't ready. Alina looked at him, stunned. You saw me before? Yes. I came back again this year. I was ready this time. I told myself I'd leave you a sign, and if you followed it, maybe we were meant to meet again. The boy with the note? She said softly. Liam smiled. He's my neighbor's son. I asked him to help. I told him exactly what to do. Alina shook her head in amazement. That message, it changed everything. He's closer than you think. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept thinking. What if it's true? It was, he said. I was watching. I followed every step you took. I left the teddy bear at gate 18, the locket too. I didn't think you'd actually find them. I did, she said. And with every piece, I felt like you were leading me, guiding me. I was, he said. I wanted you to feel me before you saw me. I wanted you to remember us. To remember love. Alina leaned her head on his shoulder. I never forgot love. It just hurt too much to feel it sometimes. Liam reached into his pocket and pulled out something small and shiny. It was a tiny key. What's this? She asked. It's for a locker here at the airport, number 47. I rented it a year ago. I left some things inside. Things from my past. I thought if I ever saw you again, I'd give you this. Alina looked at the key. Do you want to go now? He nodded. They stood up together and walked slowly through the terminal. Every step felt like a step forward in time, away from pain, toward healing. When they reached locker 47, Liam turned the key and opened it. Inside was a small box. He took it out and handed it to her. She opened the lid. Inside were drawings, a few old photos, a broken toy car, and a button from a shirt she had once sewn for him. I kept everything that reminded me of home, he said. Even when I had nothing, I had these. Elena touched the items gently, tears rolling down her cheeks. You were just a boy. How did you survive? I remembered love, he said. It gave me strength. She closed the box and hugged him tightly. You never stopped being my son, and I never stopped being your mother. They held each other for a long time, right there by the locker. Strangers passed by, but no one interrupted. It was their moment, their beginning again. When they finally let go, Liam looked at her and asked, Can we go home? Elena nodded. Yes, let's go home. They walked out of the airport together, not as a broken past but as a mended future. And for the first time in 10 years, the world felt whole again. The ride home was quiet but full of feeling. Elena drove with one hand on the wheel and the other holding Liam's hand tightly, as if she was afraid to let go again. Liam stared out the window, watching the city pass by, but his thoughts were far away. It had been 10 years since he had last seen these roads, these signs, these familiar buildings. They felt the same, yet so different. Elena glanced at him every few seconds, checking to make sure this was real. Maddie was still there, still breathing, still hers. Do you remember this street? She asked gently. Liam nodded. Yeah, I used to ride my bike down here. You always yelled at me to wear a helmet. She smiled. You never listened. I thought helmets looked dumb, he said, and they both laughed softly. The sound of their laughter filled the car like sunlight. It was warm and healing. They pulled into the driveway of her small house. It hadn't changed much. The same front porch light, the same blue door. As Liam stepped out of the car, he looked around, taking it all in. Still smells like jasmine, he said, sniffing the air. I planted those bushes when you were 5, Elena said. You tried to dig them up because you thought treasure was underneath. He smiled, remembering. I was sure there was gold. There was, she said. You. He looked at her, eyes soft. That's corny, but true. She unlocked the door, and they walked inside. The house was quiet, filled with memories. Family photos lined the hallway. Liam saw one of himself as a baby in a high chair, covered in food. You kept these? He asked. Every single one, Elena said. Even when it hurt to look at them, I couldn't take them down. He touched the frame. I didn't. No, I'd miss this so much. In the living room, the couch was the same. The pillows slightly faded. The blanket he used to drag everywhere as a kid was folded neatly on the armrest. I used to hide under that when I was scared, he said. I remember, she said. You always thought monsters couldn't find you under it. They never did. They sat down together, silence falling over them again. But it wasn't awkward. It was peaceful, safe, like a space that didn't need words. After a while, Elena stood up and went to the kitchen. I'll make us some tea. You still like cinnamon, right? Yeah, he said. Thanks. He leaned back and looked around. His eyes landed on a shelf where an old jar sat, labeled Liam's Adventures. It was full of small notes, drawings, and little treasures he had collected as a child. He stood and picked it up, turning it slowly. In his hands, Elena returned with the tea and saw him holding it. Her eyes softened. You made me promise to keep that forever, she said. You said it was your treasure chest. He smiled and opened the lid. Inside were drawings of rockets, maps to nowhere, buttons, and even a small paper crown. I used to believe I was going to grow up and become a space explorer, he said. You always dreamed big, she said, and you always believed in me. Still do. They sipped tea and watched the sunset through the window. The sky turned orange and gold, soft clouds drifting across. Liam looked at his mother, her face glowing in the light. Why didn't you move? He asked suddenly. Why stay here after everything? She took a deep breath. Because this was the last place I saw you. I couldn't leave it behind. I was afraid you might come back one day and I wouldn't be here. His eyes filled again. I'm sorry. I made you wait so long. You didn't make me, she said. I chose to wait because I believed you'd find your way home. I wish I had come sooner. But you're here now, she said, reaching for his hand again. That's all that matters. They sat there until the stars came out. Liam stood and walked to the back door. Stepping outside into the small garden, he looked up at the sky. I used to wish on stars, he said. I thought maybe one day, my wish would bring me back. And did it? No, he said. You did. She stepped beside him, wrapped her arm around his shoulder. We did. Together. He turned to her. I want to know everything I missed. All the birthdays, the holidays, the little things. We have time, she said. We'll catch up. Slowly. No rush. I'd like that. She smiled. Me too. Inside, the clock ticked softly. The house was no longer a place of sorrow. It was home again. A place where love had waited patiently, silently, until it was found. As the night deepened, Liam lay on the old bed in his childhood room. The walls still had the faint outline of glow-in-the-dark stars. He smiled, pulled the blanket over him, and whispered into the quiet, I'm home. And downstairs, Elena sat on the couch, holding the jar of adventures in her lap, tears in her eyes, heart full for the first time in a decade. Her son was home, her wish had come true. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the windows, casting soft golden rays across the wooden floors. Alina stood in the kitchen, stirring a pot of oatmeal, her heart full in a way she hadn't felt in years. Every sound in the house felt new again, the creak of the floorboards, the ticking clock, the soft hum of the kettle, but one sound stood out above the rest. Liam's footsteps coming down the stairs. She turned just in time to see him enter the kitchen, rubbing his eyes and yawning. "Morning," he mumbled, his voice still sleepy. "Good morning, sweetheart," she said, smiling warmly. "Did you sleep well?" He nodded. "How soft that bed was. I used to think it was a cloud." "You used to jump on it like it was a trampoline," she said, laughing. Liam chuckled and sat at the table. His eyes scanned the room, landing on the little details he had missed for years. The fruit bowl, the wall calendar, the magnets on the fridge, everything looked the same, and yet it all felt different. "Breakfast is almost ready," Alina said. "I hope you still like bananas in your oatmeal." "Always," he replied, grinning. As they sat together at the table, eating and sharing soft laughter, it felt like no time had passed at all. But they both knew that wasn't true. Time had passed, too much of it tanned. There were still pieces of the past that needed to be spoken out loud. After breakfast, Alina brought out an old box from the hall closet. It was dusty, tied with a faded ribbon. "What's this?" Liam asked. "Your childhood," she said, setting it down. "I kept everything. I wasn't sure why at the time. Maybe I just couldn't let go." He opened the box slowly, his fingers brushing over familiar things. A small red car, a drawing of a dinosaur, a crayon-colored birthday card he had once made for her that said, "Best Mom in the Galaxy." His eyes welled up as he held the card. "I remember making this," he said. "You were sick that day. I wanted to cheer you up." "You did," she said, "more than you'll ever know." They spent the morning going through the box, memory after memory spilling out like treasure. Every photo told a story. Every toy had a voice. And for the first time, they shared those stories not with pain, but with healing. Later, they took a walk to the park just a few blocks away. It was quiet, peaceful, the trees full of leaves that swayed gently in the breeze. Liam looked around as they walked. "It's smaller than I remember," he said. "Places always seem bigger when you're little," Alina replied. "You used to run through that field chasing butterflies. Did I ever catch one?" "Once," she smiled. "You let it go after 5 seconds? Said it looked sad in your hand." He laughed. "Sounds like me." They sat on a bench near the pond. Ducks floated lazily across the water, and the air smelled of flowers and grass. Alina looked at her son. "Liam, there's something I want to ask. Anything. The man who took you in, was he good to you?" Liam was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "He was kind. Not perfect, but he gave me food, clothes, school. He gave me a name." "A new name?" she asked. "Yeah, Evan," he said. "Liam was part of the past, and it would only hurt to hold on to it. But I never stopped being Liam in my heart." "Did he know you were looking for me?" "I think he always knew I would. He didn't stop me. But he didn't help either." Alina reached over and took his hand. "I'm thankful he kept you safe, even if I wish he had brought you back." "I used to dream about this bench," Liam said suddenly. "You and me sitting here, just talking, like this." "So did I," she said softly. So many times he looked at her, eyes full. "Thank you for not giving up on me. I couldn't," she replied. "You were never gone from my heart." They sat in silence again, the kind of silence that speaks louder than words. It was the silence of understanding, of connection, of a bond that time couldn't break. That evening, back at the house, Alina cooked Liam's favorite dinner, mac and cheese with garlic bread. He helped her in the kitchen, slicing tomatoes, tasting the sauce, laughing when the bread almost burned. After dinner, they watched old home videos. The screen flickered with images of a younger Liam riding a tricycle, dancing in the living room, blowing out candles on a cake shaped like a rocket. Alina wiped her eyes as she watched. "You were so full of joy," she said. "Still am," Liam replied. "Because I'm here, with you." "Do you think you'll stay?" she asked quietly. "Here." He looked at her, thoughtful. "I don't know what the future holds, but I want to stay close. I want to rebuild what we lost. One day at a time," she said. "No pressure. One day at a time," he repeated. As the night wore on, Alina tucked the old box of memories under the bed and turned out the lights. Liam stood in the doorway of his room, watching her. "Mom?" "Yes." "Sweetheart, can you sing that song again? The one from when I was little." Her heart swelled. She nodded, and as he lay in bed, she sat beside him and began to hum the lullaby, her voice soft and full of love. His eyes closed slowly, and for the first time in 10 years, Liam fell asleep knowing he was safe, loved, and finally home. A soft rain tapped gently against the windows the next morning as Alina stood in the doorway of Liam's room, watching him sleep. His chest rose and fell with the peaceful rhythm of someone who finally felt safe. For 10 years, she had dreamed of seeing him like this again. She never imagined that dream would one day come true. He stirred slightly and opened his eyes. When he saw her, he smiled. "Morning," he said. "Morning," she replied, stepping into the room. You slept well again. Best sleep I've had in years, he said, stretching. It's the quiet and the smell of jasmine. That's always been your favorite, she said, even before you knew it. They had breakfast together in the kitchen, this time pancakes with strawberries. Alina watched as Liam reached for the syrup, just like he used to. It was these little things, the way he ate, the way he smiled, the way he hummed softly while chewing, that made her realize how much of him was still the same. After breakfast, Alina placed 2 steaming mugs of tea on the table and sat down across from him. Liam, I've been thinking, she said softly. Would you be willing to meet someone who he asked? Detective Moore, she said. He was the officer who worked your case. He never stopped checking in. He still calls every year on your birthday. Liam blinked. He does. She nodded. I think he'd want to see you. And maybe you'd like to see him too. Liam looked down at his tea, then slowly nodded. Yeah, okay. If you trust him, I trust him. A few hours later, a quiet knock came at the door. Alina opened it, and there he was, Detective Moore, older now, his hair gray, his face lined with time, but his eyes were kind and alert, just as she remembered. Alina, he said, smiling warmly, is it true? She stepped aside. Come in. Moore walked in and looked toward the living room, where Liam stood waiting. For a moment, he said nothing. He just stared, emotion filling his eyes. You grew up, Moore said quietly. I wasn't sure I'd live long enough to see this day. Liam stepped forward, nervous but curious. You're the one who looked for me. Every day, Moore replied. Your mother never gave up and I didn't either. They sat together in the living room, sharing stories, catching up on the years lost. Moore spoke of the search efforts, the leads that went cold, the moments of doubt. But every year, when your mom lit a candle on your birthday, I made a promise to myself, he said. One day, we'd find you. I didn't even know people were still looking, Liam said. You were never forgotten, Moore said gently. Not by her, not by me. Before Moore left, he turned to Liam. If you ever want help finding out more about your past, or even reconnecting with the man who raised you, I can help. No pressure. Just know you're not alone. Liam nodded. Thank you. That night, after Moore left, Liam and Alina sat on the couch together. Rain still tapped against the windows, and the house felt warm and quiet. What will you do now? Alina asked him. I'm not sure, he said honestly. Part of me wants to go back to school. Finish what I started. Maybe help other kids like me someday. You'd be amazing at that, she said. You understand what it's like. He looked at her. Can I still stay here? While I figure it out. She laughed softly. You never have to ask. This is your home. In the following weeks, their routine became natural. Liam helped around the house, started visiting the library, even joined a small support group for people reconnecting with lost families. He began writing against stories, letters, thoughts he had kept hidden for years. Alina read every word with pride. One afternoon, while cleaning the attic, Liam found a box labeled Liam's Future. Inside were unopened birthday cards, letters Alina had written to him every year he was gone, gifts she had saved. One by one, he opened them, tears falling as he read the words she had written when she didn't even know if he was alive. Happy 14th birthday, Liam. I hope wherever you are you feel loved. Happy 18th, my sweet boy. Today you're a man. I still believe in you. You're 21 now. I still set a place at the table every year, just in case. Liam clutched the letters to his chest, overwhelmed by how much she had loved him even in his absence. That night, he handed her one of his new letters. What's this? She asked. Something I wrote for you. She unfolded it and began to read. Dear Mom, I used to think I was lost, that no one was looking for me, that I didn't matter. But I was wrong. I was never lost. I was loved. And I was missed. Every step I've taken, every breath, has brought me back to you. Thank you for being my light, my home, my beginning again. Her hand shook as she finished the letter. I love you, Liam. I love you too, Mom. They hugged again, tighter than before, not out of fear, but out of something stronger, healing, wholeness, love that had survived everything. Months later, Liam enrolled in a college program. For social work, he volunteered at a youth center, helping lost kids find their way. Alina, now full of peace, baked cookies for the kids and started painting again. Their house was no longer a museum of memories, but a place full of life and laughter. On the anniversary of his return, they lit a candle not for loss, but for gratitude, for hope, for miracles. And as they sat together, side by side, watching the flame flicker gently, Alina whispered, You came back. And Liam, smiling through happy tears, replied, You waited.